Grocery prices are absolutely out of control right now, so watch me take these old cookbooks and still feed myself affordable, healthy food for the next 2 weeks. Okay, now I'm going to give you all the truth here. I'm going to split this up into more than one video so that we do this by individual recipe, but before I even get started, vegetarian food is intimidating to people for this exact reason. There are a ton of ingredients involved here, but I want you to know that all of these ingredients, except for maybe just a handful, are going to actually be overlapping through a lot of the recipes I'm going to do today. And so what I like to do, and I think anybody that cooks with this much should do this, get everything out and lay it out on, I've got a separate table here because I have the space to do it in this kitchen. Lay everything out so that it's easily organized, and then you're going to get started. And here we go. Now, first things first, I've mentioned this before, in a lot of these old vegetarian recipes, you really need to have a food processor. I would not even try to attempt making a nut roast or this special K-loaf without one. Now, other recipes that we do, like muffins and things, it's not a big deal, but I really recommend you get one of these. You can find them on eBay, sometimes at a thrift store, yard sale, Amazon, well under $50, sometimes under $30, but I don't even recommend you attempt intense cooking like this without one. But anyway, here we go. First thing we're going to do is, for prep sake, I'm going to go ahead and chop up all of my nuts before I toast them. Toasting your nuts in these recipes, like in this special K-loaf, is absolutely necessary. It's a key element that balloons the flavor. And, you know, you can use whatever nuts that you like. On hand, I happen to have a blend of cashews, pecans, and walnuts. And I'm going to use those, and we're going to season them up and roast them. So I'm not going to do this part with the camera because it's extremely noisy. But I'm just going to pulse this for a minute, and I'll show you what it looks like. So here, this is about perfect. See how it's all chopped up? That only took a few seconds, and now I'm going to dump it into a skillet and start toasting it. Now, this step is really important. I do have the heat turned up really high, but I'm doing this just to bring it up to a temperature, and then I'm going to turn it down. I do this a lot. But anyhow, you just want to kind of toast these for a few minutes on a medium-low heat until you start to really smell the aroma of the nuts coming out. And then we're going to start building the other ingredients. I'm not going to chop this onion, and because I've already chopped nuts that are going into this, I don't care if some nuts get on this. It's all going into the same type of meal. I'm not worried about cross-contamination. And we're going to saute this in avocado oil, and that's just because that's what I have on hand. You could use olive oil if you want. So I'm just going to add just a little bit of oil and kind of let that spread around. And check this out. This is what is so cool about having a food processor if you don't own one. In literally just a couple of seconds, I know it's going to get hot quickly. I'm not worried about it. With a food processor like this, I'm going to have to use both hands to get the rest of the onions out. But see how quickly this chopped? It's phenomenal. And, you know, while I'm doing this, I'm just thinking, this is why I really want to open Origin Foods, because this is such an extra step here. You know, I mean, if we could give you a blend of toasted chopped nuts like this and say, here you go, take it home, throw it in a casserole pan, cook up some, you'll see in a second, I'm going to cook up some onions and mushrooms and garlic, and by the time it all comes together, it's going to be really fabulous. But just having to do this extra step requires a food processor and a skillet and several extra minutes that we could literally save people. But nobody else is doing this for us, you know, so you got to do it yourself. Okay, now I'm going to add mushrooms to this, but in following like the same way the Micheff sisters do this, I'm going to cook these for a few minutes until they start to become clear before I add anything else. Now I'm using fresh herbs because not only are these organic, they're getting cooked, and I'm using fresh garlic here, and this is going to be a little tricky to film, but basically the old chef's trick, if you don't have a garlic press, and I do have one, but I figure it's nice to show this, is you put this on it and you're going to smash it down and then chop it up. See, that releases the oil, and then it can be easily diced up. And bam, we're not shooting for perfection, but roughly 2, cloves of garlic or so. And the whole point of this is we're doing baby bellas and shiitake mushrooms, and we're gonna concentrate the flavor down in the skillet. I'm just waiting on these onions. Now, you'll notice I've kind of got them pooled over here to one side of the skillet because I'm trying to cut down on my dishes. But essentially, we want to use a big skillet here so that these get a lot of surface area to cook. And we're trying to cook them down. I'm doing these one batch at a time so that I don't overcrowd the skillet, but we're trying to cook this down for about 30 to 60 seconds to concentrate the flavor and cook some of the moisture or water out of this, because that's, that's only going to make our roast mushy. And we're already going to add tofu to it, so trust me, this is going to be fabulous. We just have to be patient. All right, so as you can see now, I've taken out the baby bellas and I've put them aside, and it doesn't matter if there's some onions left over or even if there's some baby bellas left in here. This is all going to get roasted into a casserole together, but again, we're just trying to get that surface area to touch all these mushrooms, all that heat to cook these and concentrate the flavor, cook the water out. Then we're going to add all this back in, and then we're going to add fresh herbs, and at this point it should start smelling insane in here. Now I've got everything in the skillet together, all the mushrooms and the onions. It's already very earthy, and we're going to go ahead over here. This is just the organic poultry blend that I got from Whole Foods. It's from Rock Garden. Anyway, we're going to chop this up and throw it in the skillet. All right, now at this point we're going to stir in our chopped herbs and steam. We're going to cut the heat off. Goodness, this already smells good. And now we're going to start building our tofu mixture while this is setting aside before this gets too much cooler. All right, we're going to try to use a large mixing bowl for this. We're going to add the tofu, and I'm going to show you the spices and herbs we're going to add. Then we're going to add the mushrooms and the nuts and our bran flakes, and we're about to build our roast. We're almost done. Of course, with any block of tofu, you just want to drain the water off real quick. That's always important. So you're going to want to open your tofu and drain the water off, but we don't need to press this because we're going to crumble it up. And basically the original Special K loaf used cottage cheese. So we're just going to, with clean hands, or you can use kitchen gloves if you are concerned about it, we're just going to give this a coarse crumble so that this kind of takes on the texture of cheese. So we're going to do about 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast, and then we're going to do, I'm just using this because this is what I have on hand, about 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. I'm doing about 1 tablespoon of this spike veggie seasoning. I'm doing about 1 tablespoon or 2 of this Micheff's chicken seasoning, 1 tablespoon or 2 of this umami vegetable seasoning, and then maybe a couple tablespoons of this depending on the saltiness. I may add more or less. Okay, I'm sorry, I probably should have shown this, but I just dumped everything that was in the skillet, the mushrooms and the nuts, into this after I put all these spices in, and I'll be honest with you, I've made this stuff a bunch and I just eyeballed it because I'm sure it'll be fine. I barely measured this out, and everything else I eyeballed. But essentially, you're gonna pour in soy milk, and you're gonna look, you don't want this to be too dry. You see how you can see to the bottom? You don't want this to be too dry or too wet. So this is a little bit on the dry side. We have to add bran flake cereal to this, and that's gonna absorb some of the moisture. So we're gonna just kind of eyeball this and add soy milk as we go. Now, the original recipe calls for 7 cups of bran flakes, and I'm using Whole Foods Organic 365 bran flakes, and I just eyeballed this one. I'm gonna do about 2/3 of a box. That may look like a lot, but again, I'm probably gonna add, I gotta stir this and try to film with one hand, but by the time I get all this mixed and incorporated, and by the time I add more soy milk and let it sit, it's gonna firm up and harden up, and those bran flakes are gonna absorb a lot of that moisture, and it's gonna actually help to bind this. And you'll see by the time I roast it, it'll be like an actual loaf. My goodness, that smells good. So we're gonna let that sit for several minutes and absorb all the moisture and let the bran flakes soak all that up. And then we're gonna grease a baking dish, and we're gonna bake it for 350 for about 45 to 50 minutes till it's done. Oh my goodness, there's the Special K loaf. Okay, moment of truth. This is the Special K loaf. I'm just gonna take a little piece of it and try it. Mmm. That would be good with rice. Like next time I might make rice with it like I do the nut roast. This is good. It's not really chicken-like. It just is like really earthy. Stuffing-like, vegetable-like. It's very good. Oh my God. With carrots and peas and mashed potatoes and gravy. That's a meal. That's good.